Well, good morning. It is Monday, August the 12th, 2024. This is Walking Boxing. And as I mentioned yesterday, if things didn't go a certain way in the football yesterday, I was going to be a little bit grumpy today. And that's exactly the way it is this morning. I'm a little bit flat, a little frustrated, a little pissed off after the insipid performance of Carlton Footy Club. I know this is a boxing channel, but geez, what a pathetic performance from the Blues. Anyway, we'll move on. It's always next year. That's what we tend to say every year, if I'm being honest. But anyway, plenty more to live for than just football, isn't there? Just wondered why there was a car stopping there. All right, on to the fights yesterday. Apart from the football, for me, it was a great weekend for the fights, and I suppose another controversial fight. Now, we went through this last week with the Terence Crawford and Israel Madrimov fight. Vergil Ortiz getting a majority 12-round decision over Ukraine's Serhii Bohachuk. First of all, what a fight. From start to finish, these guys just went at it, as you would expect, with one having a 21-0 record with 21 knockouts, the other one with a 24-1 record with 23 knockouts. It was always going to happen, but it went the distance, which is really surprising. But just the war itself was just something to behold. And I did say in my preview the other day that don't be surprised if it goes the distance, even though they've had so many knockouts between them. About 95% of the fights have gone by that way. But sometimes when you get two fighters that are explosive and so evenly matched, they simply just collide and they go through 12 rounds at just wailing away at each other. And that's exactly what happened. Look, as I said, it was controversial. A lot of people thinking that Bohachuk should have got the win. The final scorecards were, was it 113, which is exactly the way I scored it. And the other scorecards were, 114, 112. So pretty much in rounds, the first judge gave Ortiz 7 out of 5. There was 2 knockdowns, of course. The other judges had it 8 rounds to 4. So look, I would probably say straight off the bat that 8 rounds to 4 in favour of Ortiz is really stretching it. I don't know. Well, I'm going to say I don't know really how you could score it that way. But look, everyone and every judge, especially, has maybe a different way of scoring fights, the way or what they're looking for. And I could probably make a case for both fighters getting the win. The one thing I will say though is that this was not a rip-off. This was not a robbery. Guys, I'll say it again, just because it's a close fight and the fighter you want to win or maybe you think might have just got by doesn't get the decision, doesn't mean your fighter was ripped off. We saw it last week with Crawford and Madrimov. Now, I did think Crawford won the fight last week, but again, I wouldn't have argued if it had been a draw, or maybe even Madrimov got a close decision, just like yesterday. As I said, I had it scored a draw. So, but there were so many close rounds. Again, it's looking at the way you score the fight, what you're looking for from both fighters. But I wouldn't have argued if it had been a draw or Bohachuk had got the decision. After the final bell ended, I did say that even though I had it a draw, I had a feeling that Vergil Ortiz would scrape by with a razor-thin decision, and that's what happened. Now, I know there's all the conspiracy theorists out there, and Oscar De La Hoya's involved, and so the fight was fixed, and blah, 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 blah. And of course, we did the interview before the fight with Turki Al-Sheikh and Oscar, and, they're agreeing to Vergil Ortiz and Terence Crawford pretty much right there and then, which was a little bit surprising. It was actually a little bit odd to see Turki Al-Sheikh without all the garments and the headgear on, or the headwear. Just another face in the crowd. But yeah, so that, I admit that was probably a little bit, maybe a little bit dodgy. I don't know, but I think in this instance, what you find is, and I think I've again discussed this on one of the shows, that the promoters don't hire the judges. Okay, the promoter pays his fees and charges to the Athletic Commission, so the Nevada Athletic Commission. They appoint the judges, and we just get on with it. However, what I will say, so I don't subscribe to that, but I will say that the judges are only human, and while they might not have any direct contact with Oscar De La Hoya or receive any money from him, they are human. They can read the room, they can read the situation, and in a really close round and then a really close fight, sometimes I've got no doubt they go, "Ooh, that was really, really close." But I did see the interview with Oscar and Turki Al Sheikh, and they were saying that Ortiz and Crawford's next, so I'll just sway towards giving it to Ortiz. Look, I don't know, who knows what goes through their head, but I do know is that sometimes, yeah, they would know the score, they would know the script, and maybe in a really, really close round might just be swayed to give it to the house fighter in this occasion, which was Vergil Ortiz. But look, for the fight itself, what I will say, it was an extremely hard fight to score because the styles of the two were so vastly different. You had Bohachuk, who just marched forward, not the typical Ukrainian fighter. Most Ukrainians sort of fight a certain way, but Bohachuk was a bit, probably we can't excuse the fact that, look, he is a limited fighter to some extent. There's nothing flash about him at all. There's no lightning hand speed like a Lomachenko, and the moves like Lomachenko. There's not the ability to change style and tempo and all these sorts of things that you get from Usyk. He's just a straight up and down fighter who just comes, he'll poke out the jab, look for the right hand, look for the inside uppercuts and hooks, and that's just what he is. Then you have Vergil Ortiz, who is slick. Does like to obviously bomb people out, but I think he knew very, very quickly yesterday that that was not going to be the case. It wasn't going to be easy, at least early on anyway. But slick with a jab, he's very, very quick. He's actually got good footwork, really good kit of punches, goes from the head to body or body to head really, really smoothly, and he can punch. So you had those two styles colliding, and I thought the earlier rounds, I thought that maybe Ortiz was probably getting the better of the rounds, only because the rounds were so even, and again, the judges are looking for something, anything to give it to a certain fighter. Not just the favourite, but just looking for a reason to give a fighter the round. I don't think judges like to score even rounds. But in this case, you had Ortiz, who just was a lot quicker, a lot crisper. His punches really stood out a lot more than Bohachuk, who was just a workman-like type of fighter. And I just think Ortiz's punches just maybe stood out a little bit better, even though I thought the fight was so close and both fighters had their moments. Then, of course, I think it was we had Ortiz who hit the deck and it was ruled a slip. And then, was it 3 or 4 rounds later, before the round started, which I've never seen before ever, the referee didn't start the round. He sent both fighters back to the corner and ruled that the slip was in fact a knockdown. Now, again, I've never seen that 3 or 4 rounds later. So my question is, do the judges have an opportunity to alter their cards? Does it automatically get altered for them? I don't know, because what happens after the rounds, of course, they hand in the scorecards. So the referee, you see them going around after each round and they collect the scorecards from each fight and then they hand it to the official at ringside. So what happens then? And I don't know what happened yesterday, so that's something I really want to investigate. But end of the day, it was scored a knockdown. And then I thought, as the fight went, I thought in the middle rounds, Bohachuk really got on top. I thought Vergil Ortiz really started to gas. Thought he was struggling. The pep in his punches was gone. He tried to battle it out. That's one thing he did show me that he did have. He had heart. but obviously so does Bohachuk, because Bohachuk just dug in, and those middle rounds were just brutal, head to head. Both fighters pretty much fighting a similar style, uppercuts, hooks, rips to the body, just a brutal fight. And I thought Bohachuk got the better of those exchanges. But then I thought later in the fight, of course there was another knockdown there. I can't remember what round it was, which was a legitimate knockdown, sort of. The reason I sort of hesitate is because he did land a right hand, but I've got no doubt that Ortiz did slip on the canvas and did the splits and went down. But having said that, it's a knockdown. 100% you've got to rule it a knockdown. He was hit and he went down. Doesn't matter that he slightly slipped at the same time and did the splits. Doesn't matter. So at that point, I've got no doubt Vergil Ortiz started to panic. And then he seemed to find either a second or third win, whatever you might want to call it. And I thought in the last few rounds, he really upped the pace. Probably showed something I haven't really seen from Vergil Ortiz before. I thought he had Bohachuk hurt numerous times. Not to the point of maybe getting knocked down or stopped, but he definitely got his attention and had him in a little bit of trouble, a little bit shaken, and really let it all hang out in the fight. And again, that's something I haven't really seen from Vergil Ortiz before. So both fighters just showed things that you want to see from fighters at this level. Have they got that intensity or the fortitude, whatever you might want to call it, to hang in there? And I thought both guys did that. And then I thought going into the last round, I thought it was up for grabs. I think I gave Bohachuk the last round, but yeah, I had it 113. So 7 rounds to 5 for Ortiz. But again, I'll say it. If it had gone Bohachuk's way, no arguments from this end, just like last week's Madrimov and Crawford fight. But yeah, I have no issues with the decision at all. Because I haven't had a chance to have a real good look at social media and all that yet. I was watching the football yesterday and then sulking for the rest of the night, so I didn't really have a chance to look at it all. But I have seen a few grabs, and I know there's a lot of people saying that Bohachuk was ripped and controversy and all the rest of it. Come on. Okay, yes, maybe there was a slight favouring to Ortiz being that house fight. I get that, I understand it. But that's just boxing. It's never been any different. It'll never be the same. And it's just one of those things. But even if that had been the case, as I said, if Bohachuk had got the decision, I would have clapped and said, well done, mate. Awesome job. So what now for Vergil Ortiz? Now, does he get the Crawford fight, or do we wait and see what happens with Tim Tszyu and Murtazaliev? Do we wait and see what happens with Fundora and is it Spence or whoever it's going to be? Because the thing is that Vergil Ortiz won the WBC interim title yesterday. I can't believe they raise their hands and say the new world is another world champion. I don't get that. It's an interim belt. Don't say that he's a world champion. But anyway, it's a different story. But wouldn't you think that it would actually be Fundora who would be the one saying to Vergil Ortiz, well, we have to fight now? I mean, he's mandatory, isn't he? So I don't know how all that works, especially with Errol Spence thrown in there. Who knows? But technically, it should be Sebastian Fundora and Vergil Ortiz next. But anyway, no matter what happens, I think that you probably won't see Crawford for a year. That seems to be his usual thing. So it does leave time for another fight for Ortiz. Could we maybe see that Tim and Murtazaliev fights the winner? The winner of Tim and Murtazaliev fights Ortiz, and the winner of that gets the shot at Terence Crawford. The only fly in the ointment there, of course, is that Serhii Bohachuk did say on the coverage yesterday that Tim Tszyu is not really in his thoughts at the moment, which does again pose a question. I know I spoke about this the other day, that it was a little bit of a communication error or whatever it is, but it does seem that Serhii Bohachuk has brought up Tim's name pretty much without much pushing from the commentator. He's just brought it up in general conversation on his own. So if he's gone out of his way to mention twice that Tim's not in his plans, that goes to show that what is going on behind closed doors. And I'll say it again though, I don't think Tim 100% needs someone like Serhii Bohachuk. I think he'll do okay as he is, but geez, I'm not sure what has gone on behind closed doors there, because as I said, Serhii Bohachuk's gone out of his way twice now to mention Tim without any sort of, as I said, pushing from the reporter or commentator. So let's see what happens there. But look, overall, I thought it was an absolutely fantastic fight. That's two great fights in a row. And I mean, the undercard wasn't overly great. I didn't mention that at the start, but what can you say? It was if you got the DAZN app, it was free. I know it's an asterisk being free because you're still paying for the app, but still, when you're not paying extra for a pay-per-view. Oh, I'll just get Neil there. He wants to change sides. Yeah, I'm not that stressed about the undercard. Conwell on there did look impressive. That was a ripper body shot that he scored the knockout with. So, and Fundora's sister looked pretty good as well. So, anyway, guys, that's it for me. I'm just going to try and get on with my week. I think I'm over my little rut. I think I've finished sulking. It's the start of a new week. And as I said, there's plenty more things to worry about than footy. So look, have a great day, guys, and we will talk to you tomorrow.